Soft light from a bedside lamp casts long shadows across the room. A young woman, Sarah, late 20s, stands in front of a full-length mirror, brushing her hair. At first, everything seems normal. Her reflection mimics her actions perfectly. People always say, the mirror never lies. But sometimes it shows you more than you want to see. She stops brushing, staring at herself. A fleeting unease crosses her face, but she brushes it off, putting the brush down. Get a grip, Sarah. She turns away from the mirror, but her reflection lingers for just a second longer before following. Sarah, now getting ready for work, splashes water on her face. As she wipes it away with a towel, she notices something strange in the mirror. Her reflection doesn't move in perfect sync. It's slightly delayed. Her reflection quickly catches up, but she can't shake the unease. She glances back over her shoulder at the mirror, but everything seems normal again. Sarah is on her couch, reading a book. Across the room, the large mirror on the wall reflects her actions. Slowly, the reflection starts acting differently. The mirror twin subtly shifts her posture, smirking while Sarah remains oblivious. The reflection stands, but Sarah is still sitting. The mirror twin watches Sarah intently before mimicking the motion of Sarah putting her book down. The mirror, I swear, it was watching me. Sarah looks up, catching the reflection standing, but when she looks at the actual mirror, everything is back to normal. She jumps, heart pounding. No, this isn't real. Sarah paces nervously in front of her mirror, trying to avoid looking at it directly. In the reflection, the mirror twin is not mimicking her anymore. It's watching, waiting. Suddenly, the mirror twin's hand reaches out toward the glass, as though testing the boundary between their worlds. What do you want? The mirror twin smirks maliciously. Sarah backs away, fear rising. The reflection begins to push harder against the glass, causing it to crack. Sarah runs to the bathroom, frantically splashing water on her face, trying to convince herself it's just her imagination. She looks in the mirror, but instead of her own reflection, her mirror twin stares back with a wicked grin, fully independent now. You're not real, Sarah. I am. The mirror twin bangs against the glass, each strike louder and more forceful. The cracks spread. Sarah panics, backing up against the wall. You're me? Not for long. With a final shatter, the mirror twin breaks through, stepping out of the mirror into the real world. The next day, Sarah wakes up slowly, groggy from the terror of the previous night. She sits up and looks around the room, disoriented. She stands in front of the mirror cautiously, checking her reflection. Everything looks normal. Maybe. It was just a nightmare. But as she walks away, her reflection in the mirror doesn't move. The mirror twin, now wearing Sarah's clothes and sporting a sinister smile, stands still, watching her leave. It's my turn now. The mirror twin steps out of the mirror, walking toward the door where the real Sarah had gone. Sarah is at work, sitting in front of her computer. She's clearly distracted, her hands shaking slightly as she types. Her colleague, Lucy, walks by and notices her unease. Lucy, hey Sarah, you okay? You've been acting off lately. Sarah glances at the reflection in her computer screen. For a split second, she sees her mirror twin smiling wickedly back at her. She jumps, slamming her laptop shut. Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired. Lucy frowns, unconvinced. Lucy, maybe you should take the rest of the day off. You look like you've seen a ghost. Sarah, yeah, maybe. As Lucy leaves, Sarah opens her laptop again, hesitating. This time, the reflection is normal, but the feeling of being watched lingers. Sarah is brushing her teeth, staring at her reflection in the mirror. Her eyes are heavy with exhaustion. She spits the toothpaste into the sink and bends down to rinse her mouth. When she stands up again, the mirror twin grins back at her. But Sarah remains expressionless, unaware of the change. The mirror twin raises a hand to its face, brushing its fingers across its lips, clearly in control of the reflection. Suddenly, Sarah touches her own lips, mirroring the reflection's actions involuntarily. She gasps and backs away, terrified. Leave me alone. The mirror twin's grin widens, eyes gleaming with malice, while Sarah backs into the door, frantically trying to escape the room. Sarah is chopping vegetables, trying to distract herself from the growing sense of unease. The knife clatters loudly against the cutting board, her movements becoming more erratic. Without warning, the reflection in the kitchen window starts moving independently again. The mirror twin picks up a knife of its own and starts slicing into its palm. blood dripping slowly onto the floor. Sarah looks up in horror as her own hand starts to bleed. Even though she hasn't cut herself, she drops the knife and stumbles backward, clutching her hand. Sarah, why is this happening? The mirror twins' laughter echoes in the room, though Sarah's reflection remains silent in the glass. Sarah wakes up in bed, drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. She checks her phone. It's 2:30 a.m., but the last thing she remembers is getting home from work at 5 p.m. I've lost hours. How is that possible? She gets out of bed, her legs unsteady. She walks to the mirror, dreading what she might see. This time, the mirror twin stands in the reflection, calm and composed, looking far more put together than Sarah. Sarah's face is pale and tired, while the reflection smiles brightly, full of life. The mirror twin brushes its hair, almost mockingly, before stepping closer to the glass. Mirror twin, you've been asleep. I've been living. Sarah's eyes widen in horror as she realizes the mirror twin has been controlling her body while she was unconscious. Sarah stands in front of the mirror in the living room, facing her mirror twin. The cracks in the glass from earlier have widened, and the mirror twin now looks more real than Sarah. Sarah, not real. I won't let you take over. The mirror twin smirks, stepping closer to the surface of the mirror, now nearly breaking through entirely. Mirror twin, but I already have. You're weak, Sarah. You've let me in. Sarah grabs a heavy object nearby, a lamp, and smashes it against the mirror, but the mirror twin doesn't flinch. Instead, the glass begins to ripple like water, the twin's hand reaching out of the mirror. The mirror twin grabs Sarah by the wrist, pulling her toward the glass. Sarah screams and struggles, but the twin's grip is too strong. Mirror twin. It's time for you to switch places. With one final yank, the mirror twin pulls Sarah through the glass. The mirror shatters, leaving Sarah trapped on the other side, screaming in silence. The next morning, the mirror twin, now fully in control of Sarah's body, wakes up. It looks around the room, smirking with satisfaction. It stretches, enjoying the feel of the real world. It stands in front of the mirror, now free from the cracks, perfectly intact. The real Sarah, now trapped on the other side, pounds desperately on the glass, but no sound escapes. It's my world now. The mirror twin winks at the reflection and walks away, leaving the real Sarah screaming silently, her reflection doomed to a life behind the glass. Sarah is on the phone with her friend Jason, early 30s. She's pacing back and forth, visibly distressed. Sarah, Jason, something's wrong. I know how it sounds, but the mirror, it's not just showing my reflection anymore. I feel like I'm losing control. It's like someone else is living my life. Sarah, I think you're just exhausted. Maybe you need a break. Stress can do weird things to your mind. No, this is different. I'm seeing things, losing time. I don't know what's happening when I black out. Sarah looks at the mirror across the room, her reflection standing there, perfectly still, staring directly at her. Her reflection smirks as if it can hear every word she says. Jason, take a deep breath. Maybe I'll come over tomorrow, okay? We'll talk through this. Sarah's reflection slowly raises a finger to its lips, mimicking a shh gesture. Sarah freezes, unable to speak, as fear overwhelms her. Sarah is sitting in front of the mirror, staring at herself, her eyes dark with sleeplessness. The mirror twin, once identical to her, now looks fresher, more confident. It moves gracefully, mocking Sarah's exhaustion. Sarah, who are you? The mirror twin tilts its head, eyes gleaming with malice. It speaks for the first time in a voice that's almost identical to Sarah's, but laced with cruelty. Mirror twin, I'm who you used to be, before you became weak. I'm everything you've lost, and more. Sarah reaches out to touch the mirror, her fingertips meeting the cold glass. The mirror twin mimics her action, but instead of stopping at the surface, its fingers pass through the glass, brushing against Sarah's hand. Sarah, I can't let you take everything. I won't let you become me. Mirror twin, but I already have. As the mirror twin's fingers grip Sarah's wrist, Sarah pulls back, the pressure between them intensifying as reality begins to blur. Sarah sits on her bed, staring at the shattered pieces of a small hand mirror she broke earlier in desperation. Her reflection in the broken pieces moves on its own, the mirror twin's fragmented image watching her with malevolent glee. Suddenly, the reflection in the shards begins to reassemble itself, twisting unnaturally until the mirror twin looks whole again, despite the fractured glass. Sarah, there's nowhere left to hide. Suddenly, the mirror cracks fully, shattering with a deafening sound as the mirror twin begins to crawl through. Its hand grips the edge of the glass, pulling itself into the real world, piece by piece. Sarah backs away, terrified as her doppelganger emerges with a satisfied grin, now free from the glass.